Alright, before anything else, I need to say something real quick. This is going to be my very first JJK video on the entire channel. If any of my viewers ever check my community posts at all, seriously, get on that. I said that I would probably start making JJK videos or Hunter x Hunter videos, maybe, strong maybe on Hunter x Hunter, but after some consideration I decided I'll take a chance on JJK. And don't worry, I'm not gonna stop making One Piece content, I'm just gonna be mixing it in with some JJK. And maybe I'll talk about other stuff, but right now I'm not really too sure, and if there is any other kind of content I want to make, then I will be sure to let you guys know. So I'll be covering both the main story and Modulo, but I obviously couldn't just jump in with a safe topic. You're probably thinking I could just start with an old arc or surface level discussion, but no, I had to talk about this chapter first, because this chapter changes the way Yuji Itadori is supposed to be viewed entirely. Because for most of the series, Yuji has existed in a very weird place. He's always been strong, and he's always had potential, but he was never really the guy, if that makes sense. He was chasing Gojo, he was trying to survive Sukuna, and he was catching up to a system that already existed for a very long time. But this chapter confirms something very big, that Yuji is no longer trying to catch up anymore. He surpassed Gojo, and he surpassed Sukuna. And trust, I know it sounds insane to hear, so we're not going to rush it. We're gonna walk through this chapter slowly, piece by piece, and explain why the story itself is telling us this. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. Actually, hold on a second. If you haven't read JJK Modulo, or if you don't even know what JJK is, please click off my video, right now. You think I'm playing, this part isn't even scripted. If you have not caught up at all, click off, right now, because I don't do spoilers here. Anyways, let's get into it. Now, I'm not going to cover every panel, and I'm not going to nitpick translations. Okay, we're focusing on what matters, the feats, the implications, and what this means for the future of JJK. Because after this chapter, Yuji is no longer operating on the same scale as everyone else. The first thing that stands out is how Yuji enters the chapter. There's no urgency, no panic, and no sense of him rushing to save the day. I mean, he was already tagging people with blood manipulation before we even properly focused on him. And that detail is actually very important because Yuji isn't using blood manipulation as a flashy technique. In fact, he's more than anything using it as a setup. Because when a combatant tries to sneak Yuji with a weapon, Yuji doesn't dodge. Like at all. He doesn't even brace himself. In fact, the most urgency that this man had was when he caught the weapon. And the narration makes it very clear that Yuji is strong enough to now take this attack head on and survive. This is not a struggle moment at all. This is the story telling you that physical attacks at this level don't even matter to him anymore. And then comes the Black Flash. This is where the chapter starts making its point very clear. Yuji's dialogue heavily implies that this Black Flash is intentional. At this stage, Yuji isn't praying for Black Flash, and he isn't relying on adrenaline or desperation anymore. He is choosing it. The narrator definitely wasn't exaggerating when they called him the man chosen by the sparks of black, because Yuji has reached a level where Black Flash is no longer a miracle, it's a weapon. A very dangerous weapon at that. I mean, look at it. The opponent gets sent flying across multiple buildings, bouncing through Tokyo like debris. If that don't convince you, I don't know what will. And you know what, honestly, the damage isn't even the most important part of this, because here's a detail that completely breaks the scale. Yuji's cursed energy manipulation is so refined that his presence cannot be sensed until the exact moment he activates it. That is insane. We have never seen cursed energy suppression at this level at all. Not from Gojo or Sukuna or Kenjaku. Yuji literally can exist on the battlefield completely undetected, then unleash overwhelming power instantly. This is the final result of Kenjaku's experiment. Yuji isn't just powerful, he's optimized. He doesn't waste energy or leak presence or announce himself. He appears, acts, and ends fights in seconds. Then we see the real reason Yuji used blood manipulation earlier. Yuji takes a tiny drop of his own blood and flicks it at Mino. It barely grazes him, like barely. Mino immediately becomes sick. He's incapacitated and out of the fight. So this is essentially Yuji turning his blood into a combat-ending poison. He doesn't need clean hits, and he doesn't need extended exchanges. A graze is literally enough to end a fight. I'm honestly still in shock. That's damn near a paper cut. But now to get into Yuji's conversation with Mino, which might be the most important moment in the chapter. Mino accuses Yuji of abandoning humanity, of not showing up when he was needed, and Yuji's response is calm. It doesn't matter. And then he clarifies. Yuji Itadori doesn't matter anymore. This is the exact lesson Gojo tried to teach him. Gojo believed that individuals had to disappear so the next generation could stand on its own, and Yuji has fully internalized that idea. He even tells Mino that he'll clean up escaped curses, contain the fallout, and stay out of the main fights, and that he will only step in if everything goes wrong. This isn't weakness, it's restraint. Yuji isn't trying to be the strongest person in the room, he's trying to be the foundation, and that's the main reason that Gojo and Yuji are different from each other. Gojo wanted strong allies. Yuji wants a system that doesn't need him. That ideological shift is just as important as the power gap, which funny enough is where the chapter escalates. Cursed spirits begin spilling across Tokyo and the situation becomes more than overwhelming. So Yuji steps onto a building, raises his hand, and calmly says, "Dismantle." What follows isn't a precise attack, it's a wave. A casual dismantle that devastates massive sections of Tokyo. Now let me make something very clear. This attack outscales Sukuna's Fuga, outscales Gojo's Hollow Purple, and required no effort whatsoever. Sorcerers literally across the entire city feel it. And that's just from one dismantle. Imagine if he did two! Samurans recoil because too many cursed spirits die at once, overwhelming their senses. Gojo and Sukuna required conditions, preparation, and high effort. Yuji literally does it just by waving his hand. And we still haven't even seen his domain expansion or his maximum technique or desperation moment. This is without a shadow of a doubt Yuji at his strongest. Yuji now has blood manipulation that disables on contact. He can now black flash at will. He has perfect cursed energy concealment, cleave and dismantle at a scale beyond Sukuna, and there are no visible stamina issues. Gojo made bets on the next generation, and Yuji was his biggest bet, and this chapter proves that he was right. Yuji didn't inherit Gojo's position, he surpassed it. So let me ask you this, how big is the gap now? How much stronger, if at all, do you think Yuji is compared to Gojo or Sukuna at their peaks? Because based on this chapter alone, and the fact that we still haven't even seen Yuji's domain expansion, I genuinely don't know who can stop him. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then drop a like and subscribe, and let me know if you want more JJK content, because this is only the beginning. I'll see you guys in whatever I make next. Peace.